All right, welcome back to the Zach Nichols podcast.
It's good to be back.
Well, it is, and the couch is empty for the first time in 4 podcasts?
Yeah, I know. Get out of here, Gus. No,
Yeah,
we loved having him here, but it was a lot.
Yeah, it looks like a bomb went off in the studio.
It does. It does.
Shit's everywhere.
Anthony was coloring everywhere. I love that part though. That was actually the part that I loved, is having him in here. But
Oh, I love having Anthony in the studio.
yeah, but it was messy in here for a second, you know. But speaking of the live show, we did just announce the second one, or the fourth one of this year, the last one we're doing for a while, right? We're gonna put the kibosh on that for a second.
We'll see, yeah, probably. We'll see. It's just you know, we've been burning it on both ends.
Yeah.
For
It's been a lot
now.
of fun. It's been a lot of fun. But
Well, it is the end of the year too.
Yeah,
So it's
exactly.
time. It's family time.
Yep, right before the
Hey,
holidays.
We'll still be doing the podcast.
Oh yeah.
That's not a problem. But planning stuff, getting, logistics.
Yeah.
It's a little bit tricky sometimes.
It's hard to do the shows regularly, but once every couple months is healthy, you know?
It's nice to relax a little bit too.
Yeah, so come out to Long Island, anywhere in the New York area. We have a very limited number of tickets available. VIP is almost sold out in a couple days. So come see Cara, come see Jenna, come see Zach, come see Paulie, and some of y'all.
Is it really?
Come see
VIP's
me.
already
It really is, actually. Yeah, it is.
Well, I mean, if you say it,
No, I mean, sometimes we, but no, it actually,
put it on a hot mic.
Yeah,
so.
no, it's true. So I'm excited for that. But yeah, man, happy Thursday. We got a good episode yesterday. Was it a good episode for you? I don't know.
I thought it was uneventful and kind of boring.
Just a little bit.
There was some good stuff. Obviously, there's always good stuff, but I just didn't. We didn't get the. I mean, I also think after the last couple weeks of episodes, I think that we were used to a lot of drama.
Yeah,
so
we're a little spoiled.
when you get a little bit, you're like, oh, well, this was boring. So I heard that too. I saw some tweets and stuff go out,
Yeah.
and they were like, oh, this was a boring episode, but you still got some good stuff. You got a pretty gangster challenge.
Mm-hmm. I like the challenge. I thought the challenge was badass, but this was a table setting. Like, we set the table for some dominoes to fall in this episode. So
Yeah, it was. There's some crazy stuff. I mean, the episode starts. Obviously Corey and it was who. I mean, I'm
Corey and Brad, and then we had Rachel and then John
right.
A.
So Rachel and Corey come back, and the first thing I noticed was the Josh's walk of shame. He went right up to Corey and tries to give him a hug, and Corey jokingly says, "Get away from me," and pushes him off. But I think he played it off like he was joking, but I don't think he was really that. I think there was a lot of truth to that.
I mean, we see it come to fruition very quickly, where Corey is clearly like, bro, everyone, like, y'all are screwed up. I am not fucking part of this. And yeah, no, it seems like this friendship between Corey and Josh only goes so far.
Well, and so I also saw some comments being like, "Oh, Zach always talks about if he was casted and blah 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 blah." And I'm okay. Let me like rephrase it. Let's just say, for example, there was Hunter and Nelson there.
Mm-hmm.
Now Corey's in the driver's seat in a lot of situations. So when I talk about me, it's just because I can speak from my experience and who I would rock with. But you could throw people from a lot of different eras that would work with Corey, that would work with other people. You know what I'm saying? So it's not just I just use me as an example because I can speak to that. But like, if they casted one or two other people from TYB, or even some of the Lavender ladies, like Corey is sitting a lot more.
Oh yeah,
more comfortable.
those conversations are much more about dynamic, which it's very clear.
I'm not
what
just
the
always
dynamic
talking
in the
about
house
myself.
is.
I do enjoy doing that. However, let's just say the dynamic in the house changes with who's casted.
Well, the one reason why it is very relevant to talk about you being in the house is because it's very obvious that you were left out for whatever reason. Maybe not to weaken certain people's games, maybe to strengthen other people's. I don't know. But to me, it is very relevant. But you're making a good point. It's really not about you. It's about the dynamic in the house in terms of who has power through relationships.
Oh, and like I said, casting can play a huge role in who wins the season. So that, like, even think about it on War of the Worlds 2. And even War of the Worlds 1, some of the first people to go home were the OGs, Bananas, CT.
Mm-hmm.
War of the Worlds 2, it was Wes, Bananas, CT went home midway, I went home midway before, some other people. So it really does play a huge role. So like when you cast a show, I remember on Final Reckoning, CT made like a board. And it was like, who's the most connected in the house? Who's the best chance of winning? And you got to imagine that production's got to do that and say, like, we have a huge role in who's going to at least make it to a certain point. Even, just there could be a lot of casting decisions that change things.
Right. I mean, we talked a lot about the Era 3 casting and, you know, some of the guys that have had the resurgence, the Brandons, the Ryans and the Derricks of the world, because they've done a couple All-Star seasons here. I mean, you see Ryan, it's pretty tied in. So we you know, it's not always a vacation alliance, but
no, Ryan's hooked up. So is Derrick for the most part. But if Derrick and Ryan weren't casted together, you know, with a lot of these Era 1 people, it's a different dynamic.
For sure.
And look at Bananas has been in the hot seat more than Ryan has for the first time in forever. And I think Derrick hit it on the head where I think it's the first time where Bananas isn't in a better spot than someone like Ryan. And I'm sure that bothers him to an extent. It should, you know, just because there's a lot of money on the line, but that's just what happens when casting is what it is.
So they get back to the house. You talked about Rachel and Corey.
And Josh.
Yep, and Josh, yeah.
But Rachel tries to do the same thing with Nehemiah. She nominates him.
Yes, please talk about
She nominates him, and then she tries to say, like, okay, now we need to make a plan. And he's just like, this was a conversation you have before you nominate me. But here's the thing is, Nehemiah's right, and I was thinking the same thing. It's like, you were never going to say Derrick or Ryan's name anyways. So the only people that you would say would be Bananas or Nehemiah, and Bananas is off for grabs. So he's like, clearly knows where he sits, you know, on her totem pole. And so I think while it's a good point, Rachel makes a lot of good points to this episode. But it's a good point. It's like, it kind of goes back to the whole Johnny and Carr thing early on. If you don't have a conversation prior to certain situations, it does look inauthentic.
Yeah, I mean, you know what I want to say on this. You know what I want to say on this. I want to say for all you Rachel fans out there, giving me a hard time criticizing her game. I don't know. Is this not the entitled behavior that we've been talking about? Where it's,
I don't think it's entitled behavior. I think it's just like how Josh was scrambling to like kind of be like, oh shit, the person that I nominated is coming back. I think it's just kind of scrambling because she's got a 4-person team. You know, Era 1 is on life support, like they said. And I think she's like, no matter what, Michelle's not going to pick
Devin.
Well, it was Jordan. She's not going to pick Jordan, or she's not going to pick Nia.
Oh, right. If they win the challenge.
Yeah. So I just think she's like, I nominated this guy, but like he has no allegiance to me. So I better, you know, he has more allegiance to Nia probably at this point.
Yeah.
And he does. And so I think she's like, Era 1 is, they're just a sitting duck. It's like that old Nintendo game where like
Duck Hunt.
That's what they are. They're the ducks that are flying slowly across the screen, and everyone else has their guns and they're just going pow, pow, pow. They've had 0 power. They have no credit score in the game. So, you know, she is scrambling, but
to me, this is another example of Rachel putting her friends in a tough spot and then doing her very best to make it look like she's trying to help everybody, which she is. She's obviously trying to help Era 1. But to me, it's like you put these people in this position, like, you guys, you're the one running the show on your team. I don't know. It's entitled behavior to me. And look, I give her credit because she had her opportunity in the sand. She won. Cool. But, you know, now you got to face the consequences. You picked who you picked. And Nehemiah, this is his second, third, whatever time.
I think it's the second.
You know, and other people are skating by, haven't gone through yet. You know what I mean? No Derrick, no Ryan at this point. What do you think is going to happen? So for me, I would have loved to see what had happened had Era 2 won, and we'll talk about that later. But yeah, no, that's how I feel. So yeah, after the fact. And then she goes, this was hilarious to me. Is she goes, if Darrell and Tina have the power in the next challenge, you'll be fine. Yeah, in what world are they going to have the fucking power?
Well, you never know. Sometimes the challenge will cater to less people.
Yeah, that's a good that's a good point.
This one actually didn't, but in a lot of times there will be challenges that cater to having less people. It makes it easier, makes it quicker to get people through it. So
You're right. So, I just think like you haven't even come close to winning a daily. You haven't come close to second place.
No.
So what are we talking about here? If you have power, when? In what fucking world?
Yeah, that's true.
I'm sorry. That's just that's it.
And with an obviously injured Derrick.
Right. And what do you think Derrick should have just like taken this one? That concludes the free preview of the Zach Nichols podcast.
So go to Patreon and subscribe to see the rest of the shit that we talk.
Go do it now.